Okay, Patrick, we're going to get started. Let's go ahead and get you torn down here. All right. Okay. Let's check your arbor here. Oh yeah. Woo-wee, that's loose. Holy moly. Okay. Well, that's why we're servicing the watch. Okay. Some of these items are just easier to get to from inside the case. And the case is the best movement holder that I've ever found. So sometimes it's just better to do it all here. Well, some of it here. Essentially, we take out the winding components and your hairspring, and then that's it. I have to say, this is the earliest 1977 6309 that I have ever seen. I have one from May, which I thought was the earliest I had ever seen. And then yours is here, which is from March, which is, you know, incredibly early. Yeah, I mean, March is right at that transition point. Okay, let's take your movement holder out. Unwind your crown. Clean that up really well. You've still got all the... Actually, you don't have your wrist washer. Now that's interesting. I wonder... I'll have to think about this one. I'm pretty sure you should have a wrist washer in here. I have them. I'm not sure if the earliest ones had it, but I'm pretty sure they did. We're gonna put one in for you. Okay. There's your very nice dial. That is in great shape. Now you can see here that somebody has put this in and pushed it so hard that it actually bent your tab a little bit, which I'm not going to bend back, because what can happen is that stress from putting this back straight can actually lead to damage to your surface right here. So I'm going to leave that alone, but put your, oh, it's not even close. Put that back. So we can see now, if we pop your movement back into your case here, that's going to align as it should right there. That's properly aligned. Okay. But, you know, that's okay. Some people don't have quite the experience with the way these things should be, and that usually suffers right there at the 2 o'clock. but I think your dial is just fine. It should be okay. Okay, let's go ahead and take your hands off. Make sure these guys align pretty well. You had remarked that you bought this while you were in the service, which I think is really great. It's nice to have a service member's watch to bring back for them. I love that connection. Your text is actually really good here. It's still reddish. It still has that sort of reddish hue, which is nice. Okay, let's see what you got on the back. You've got a 7.2, which is good because that's 1 month before this, which is 7.3. So that tells us that this is the original dial, which is nice to see. Okay. So now that we've got that taken care of, we can go ahead and complete your disassembly. Oh, actually, you know what? You still got some power in your mainspring. We're going to take that down gently here. Yep. You're definitely going to need some work on your... Ooh, look at that barrel flop around. That arbor right there should be solid as a rock. This is extremely loose. But that's not unexpected. That is the Achilles heel, again, of these 6000 series movements, is the way that lower arbor port eats into the main plate and leads to definite wear. And those surfaces look pretty good. Hopefully your palette fork is in good shape. Very close examination. I'm going to clean all those pivots. There's your click. And your fourth wheel. Third wheel. Your escape wheel. There's your center wheel cock, which comes off. There's your pretty mightily worn. This is like an oval here. It's amazing. Okay, but that's part of the process here, is to get you settled into a new set of jewels so we can ensure that everything is exactly as it should be. Okay. Ooh. Ah. Somebody's been in here and they turned that upside down. Ay, ay, ay. Well, we will do our level best to get it back off again. There we go. This C-clip is supposed to be the other way around, which allows you to get underneath of that chamfered edge and pry it back up, so next servicer will not have the same issue that I had, which was try and get that off. I will put it back on the correct way. Okay. There's your date ring. Okay, now we're on to the calendar works. So I'll go ahead and take down these parts. Only a few screws here. It's pretty much a simple, well, I mean simple in terms of the number of screws. Some of the components here are actually fairly complex, in my opinion. The keyless works has some complicated bits. It's because they went to a format of having to pull out to do the day and date correction. So, like for example, all these parts here with the gearing, it's a little more complicated than the other 6000 series. Similar to what you might find on a 6138 or some of the others. Still though, you know, engineered well. Okay, last few parts here. Let's go ahead and get this off. You got your can pinion and your center wheel. Looks pretty good. Let's get your die shock. Take it out. There we go. Setting lever. Its pin. And there we have it. Okay, so our next step, of course, is to jewel this rubber hole and get everything else cleaned up and ready to go back together. All right, when you see me next, we will have a clean movement with new jewels. We'll be back. Okay, Patrick, we are here at the reassembly time. I wanted to point out your brand new lower mainspring arbor port jewel right here, and your upper mainspring arbor port jewel, which is here. So those are two new components in your mainspring ports. So we're going to start with reassembly, getting everything back in place. Your mainspring looked great, so I didn't change that. That was original, so that went back into this barrel here, and we'll now go back into your movement. Add a little lubrication here at the top of your center wheel. There we go. All right, now we're going to start with your train of wheels. All right, here's your escape wheel. And your third wheel. All good. You have to add some lubrication to your fourth wheel before it goes in. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let's get your click spring in place. There we go. A little bit of lubrication on your upper arbor. Okay. All right, there we go. Get some screws in place. Okay, let's check. Oh yeah, very good. And screw number 3. Alright. Okay. That looks good. Let's go ahead and get your ratchet wheel in place. Okay. Go ahead and lubricate your fourth wheel. Third wheel. Escape wheel. Flip the movement over. We'll do a few things on this side. Let's go ahead and get your die shock in place. come back. Crazy springs. I want to flip out and go everywhere. Where'd you go? Okay, there we go. That's good. Go ahead and get your cannon pinion in place. All right. Flip back over. Check out the running of your train. Oh, it's nice and quiet. Oh, that's nice. That's lovely. Okay, good. Let's get your pallet fork put back in place. Pre-lubricated and is ready to go back. Okay, good. Make sure that flicks. Good, 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 good. Always nice. Good, that's what we want to see. Okay, now it's time for your hairspring and balance assembly. Let's see how we did. Is it going to run? Yes, it is. There we go. All right, let's get this die shock in place. Looks good. All right, and there we are. Okay, let's check and see how we did. We're gonna let this break in and we'll be back with some adjustments. Be right back. Okay, Patrick, well, we are working to get you better. I didn't show you the beginning phases here. We had a bad pallet fork, and I'm not sure if that's the only thing that's gone awry here. You know, the numbers look pretty good. And everything's nice and flat. We're breaking in, you know, with your new pallet fork being installed. I'm almost convinced that we've solved all the issues, but the numbers aren't quite as robust as I'd like, and there's some sensitivity in the adjustment that I'm not quite comfortable with. So I'm going to keep working at it, but I thought I'd give you an update on where we are. The movement itself is running really strong. I've got a slight concern about your hairspring, but otherwise, you know, it's moving in the right direction. So we were pretty rough in the beginning, and it comes down to, and I'll show you at the end, it comes down to a bad jewel in your palette fork. But overall, you know, it's a nice clean signal. It's really good. There's some lubrication that has to make its way, you know, around the movement and some other things. But overall, you know, I'm happy so far. So we'll keep working. We'll see if we can get these numbers a little bit better. I think we've got all the bugs worked out. So now it's time to finish with your calendar works. Get things ready to go back together for good. Everything's looking really great. Super excited about final steps here. It's always a bit touch and go when there are issues with components. You gotta make sure you understand where the origins of the problems might be. And that takes a little bit of time and effort. But once you got it figured out, it's pretty straightforward how to proceed. And that's what we're doing now. Whoops. Okay. Okay, and now for your day disc. Very good. And this C-clip, this is sort of my indicator as to the history of the watch. Seiko didn't put these on incorrectly, and it only goes in one direction, which is with the chamfer down, so that the watchsmith can make sure they can get that off. Okay, let's check and see how it functions. There we go, quick. The other interesting thing is that your stem had been apart at one point, and you didn't have your rest washer here. You now have one, so it's in place and proper. So there's a washer that goes between your stem and your spring, which is now in place, but it wasn't there before, which was odd. So that indicates to me, again, that things were apart at some point in the past. Okay, so that's working perfectly. So the next thing we got to do is dial in hands, and then we're back in the case. Okay, a couple more steps and we'll be there. Okay, here we are, back in the case. Ready to put the last few pieces in place. So this is your winding component. So the ball bearing and the pawl lever and everything in one self-contained part, which has been pre-lubricated, ready to go. Okay. And your winding weight. Okay. Make sure everybody's happy. That looks really good. Do a little light cleaning here. Make sure there's nothing on the movement that shouldn't be there. Okay. Your new case back seal is here. It's been lubricated with a little bit of silicone grease, light grease here. And your case back goes on. Get that tightened down. And there we go. That is that. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's have a good look. Really nice watch here. Okay, well, there it is. You're very early, probably the earliest I've ever seen. 1977, 6309, 7049 watch. It's just a beauty. It looks fantastic. It has a really great patina. You know, it has that sort of worn but not abused look. It's just a gorgeous watch. I think the new crystal really sort of makes the dial and the hands and everything pop. It just comes out great. I left your lume pip the way it was. You actually do have the glass, so the lume has darkened, but the pip is still there. That's still solid. I don't think it would do the watch justice. I mean, it's been cleaned on the underside. Everything is correct. The lume is still there. It's just dark. But I think it really just makes the watch. You have this beautiful buttery color to your dial lume. And I think if you had just a bright white glowing pip, it wouldn't suit the watch, in my opinion. But, you know, it's up to you. That's your decision. If you want to change that, we can do that. Your crown and stem are in great shape. Of course, rebuilt with new seals, new seal on your bezel. So your click is much smoother. Still there, but now it's got that good resistance that a new gasket provides. We can go ahead and take it through the day and date changeover. So here we go. Click over, and then the date or the day follows a little bit later. Hand alignment's great. These really are nice watches to work on. I'm very excited. We can go through your quick day and date, of course. If we can get it set here. There we go. So take it around to today, which is the 8th. And that's Monday. And there we have it. All right, well, Patrick, thank you so much again for trusting me with your watch. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to send you this video, and you can have a look at the whole process that we went through. And we'll put this back in the mail and get it to you. I want to go through the few things that we did have to change out. You had a couple little parts here and there, but nothing of any major substance. Let's see. Mostly just seals and things. You had your pallet fork. Your pallet fork, one of your jewels was misaligned. It's hard to see, of course, but this jewel right here is bent downward, which is not the way it's supposed to be. So I replaced that with a good replacement. That's working just fine. Here's your case back seal and your bezel seal, which is like a piece of plastic, of course. There's your crown seal. It's not as circular in cross-section as it should be. That's your crystal that we replaced, and I think that, certainly serves the watch better. And this replacement is exactly in specifications correct to the crystal that we took out. It's Hardlex glass. It has a frosted edge. It has the right shape and form, thickness. Everything is completely original in terms of the construction of that crystal. So it's a good one. Yeah, and I really think it works. So again, we have your original bracelet. I'm going to send, or original strap. I'm going to send this back as it sits, so you can put your new strap on, and we'll get this back to you. And I hope you enjoy it for a long time to come. All right. Well, thank you very much.